Hello everybody and welcome to the YouTube Analytics free webinar. We're going to be doing a training today on YouTube Analytics and how you can use this to grow your channel. My name is Roberto Blake. I'm a YouTube certified expert. I've produced over 1,000 plus videos on my YouTube channel, and since July of 2013 when I started doing YouTube regularly, I've grown from 0 to about 290,000 subscribers as of the making of this video. Today we're going to be doing a training on how you can use the YouTube Analytics dashboard properly to identify growth areas in your channel, and we're also going to look at hidden features that you've probably never seen before in YouTube Analytics. So I can't wait to do this training with you. We're going to hold questions until the very end of the training. We have about 40 minutes set aside for training, and then we'll do Q&A. We also want to cover something that I've produced just for you. I've produced a course called the YouTube Analytics Crash Course, and this is actually going to give you some very sophisticated training on how to use YouTube Analytics to grow your channel, identify new opportunities not only for channel growth but revenue growth, and also it's going to teach you some things about the YouTube algorithm that you may not have thought of before. So this is going to help you with developing a content strategy, help you with refining your content and your content formats in the future, and it's also going to teach you how to read your data properly so you can make great decisions around your channel. So I can't wait to get started with you. We're going to make this replay available to people who signed up for the webinar with their email. This webinar replay will be available probably until the end of this week, so Friday, and we will get that out via email to people after we take it down. So we're going to move forward with that. We want to hold questions to the very end. And again, we do want to invite you to take advantage of the offer for the YouTube Analytics Crash Course. If you are getting it in the pre-order cycle before we release in late March, then you will get a massive discount on that program. And it will also put you in the queue to be invited to another private training event that I will only do for people who have pre-ordered the YouTube Analytics Crash Course. So let's go ahead and dive into YouTube Analytics and teach you how you can use this to explode your channel growth. Here we have an overview of the YouTube Analytics dashboard. This is a dashboard that YouTube has put together to kind of give you an indicator of your channel's performance and your channel's overall health. Now, this is something that a lot of YouTubers take a glance at and they never drill down any deeper, but is important. Now you can see for the last 30-day period that my channel actually is not growing in most of these verticals. However, in the previous month, in January, these indicators and arrows were all green. This indicates the growth that YouTube is looking for. They want you to grow across all of these different criteria, and that tells you what YouTube's priorities are. And when you hover, you can see the indicator of how much growth you have. I grew 29%, almost 30% in subscribers compared to December 1st through December 31st, the previous month. And I grew in several of these other categories by as much as 44%, 40%, 34%, 6%, and 60%. So overall, the channel got very positive traction in January, which is usually a slump for most YouTube creators. However, in February, because I was traveling, I uploaded less. Usually I upload as many as 3 to 5 videos a week lately. In this case, I actually, in the month of February, maybe only uploaded 8 to 10 times in the past 20 days of February. So that actually did hurt the overall performance of the channel, but not by as much as you would think. In terms of the average view duration, it didn't go down by that much, whereas the overall watch time of the channel only took a 20% dip. These are all things that could be recovered by just simply uploading more often, but YouTube Analytics tells me that so that I could make the proper adjustments in my content strategy and in my upload frequency. So that is something that we can learn from this. The other thing that I want to point out is that sometimes people make bad assumptions about the data in their YouTube Analytics. Average view duration is probably the biggest culprit here. When we click on this, we can get a better sense of average view duration. And we can also see that the average percentage watch, or rather average percentage viewed of my videos across the board comes out to about maybe 25%. And then when we review individual videos, we can see how those individual videos perform. For example, my best performing overall video is 10 ways to make passive income online. It has an average view duration of about 4 minutes and 58 seconds, which is actually pretty good since that means the average percentage viewed is about 36%, that's great. That video is about 14 minutes long. So the fact that I'm getting that many people to watch through is pretty good. It may not seem that way, but you have to remember that this is accounting for people who leave after 30 seconds. So those people hurt your overall average in a very big way. Imagine that if you took 4 exams and you got 100s on 4 of them, but you missed the 5th exam. Even though you had 100% on all 4 exams, your average would be 80%. If someone made assumptions based on that data, they would just say that you're an average student because you have an 80% on all of your tests on average. But without looking at the individual exams to realize that you got 100s across the board, but one test you completely bombed or you didn't show up for, that tells a different story. So you can't take the averages for granted when it comes to your YouTube videos. If you did, you might make a shorter video and then you're creating an artificial ceiling for yourself that you might never get past. And then you won't get more watch time and you won't get those longer view durations, which you need. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you should make shorter videos. That's a bad assumption. So it's important for us to look at things like that. And that's why clicking in, looking at the average view duration, but then analyzing the average view duration and percentage watched of more videos can actually really help us. On average, for my video, Start Freelancing If You're Broke, which is a 10-minute video, for that video, we got a lot of watch time, and it's about a 10-minute video, and people are watching 52% of it. But the reality is that maybe most of those people are watching to the end, but we have a number of people that clicked off because maybe it just didn't fit them, or maybe they didn't feel like it got to the point quickly enough. That small group really hurts the overall average here, but they are not representative of the majority of people. So I want you to take these percentages with a grain of salt. You should take all of this data with a grain of salt and put it into perspective, especially if the word average is in front of any piece of data. If the word average is in front of a piece of data, you have to not weight it nearly as much. Raw numbers are better to go by, plus you should go off of the context of an individual video or an individual type of video before you make a decision. These numbers paint in broad strokes, and that makes it very difficult to make accurate decisions. Now, views are something that a lot of YouTubers care about, and they care about that because public perception of your YouTube channel is often judged by your views, by your subscriber count, and the ratio of views to subscribers. However, that is not the best way to determine the performance or whether a YouTube channel is alive or dead. Growth usually is. And it's the growth overall in a period of time. It may not be the growth month to month or day to day, but overall, ideally over a period of 6 months or a year or a quarter. And we know this because in the YouTube dashboard, it gives us those metrics. We can look at the performance of a YouTube channel by quarter. For example, this quarter, which isn't complete, but overall for this quarter, even though we're only about 2 months into it, the overall channel is healthy across most of its metrics. If we look at the previous quarter, which would be Q4 of 2017, overall, that was a very healthy quarter for the channel across most of its metrics. It was down by about 6% in views compared to the previous quarter, but overwhelmingly was better in terms of watch time and average view duration, revenue, shares, comments, and engagement overall. So that's actually probably a better indicator of performance than views itself. However, YouTube audiences never see this data to understand how healthy your channel might be, and so you might be judged on only this view metric. But as a creator, you shouldn't make judgments based on that number alone, since YouTube values watch time, average view duration, and as a creator, you should be valuing revenue and engagement. So if you are increasing in those areas of importance, then it might be worth it to take less overall views if you're getting more watch time or revenue or engagement. YouTube will also let you evaluate the last 90-day cycle of your channel. This becomes important because I think that you should make content strategy decisions in terms of months 30-day cycles, but also in terms of 90-day cycles. And that's because YouTube is looking at this data in that way, but also because traditional businesses plan their marketing in that exact same way. So, with that being said, I think there's a lot you can do to evaluate your channel a little bit more accurately. You can also look at the weekly performance of your channel, and that could be a great indicator of what you're doing right now. A primary example, since I've uploaded less this week, in fact, I'm not sure that I've even actually uploaded this week that consistently because I've been traveling. I'm only down 3% compared to the previous week, which actually isn't bad. But I'm up in almost every other way that matters. So that's actually not a bad indicator. I'm down in subscribers from that previous week, but that could just be a week that overperformed. And the same for views. I'm up in watch time only by a few percentage points, but it's still the most valuable metric in YouTube. Now, if you want to also have the ability to look at the lifetime performance of your YouTube channel, when you do this, you just have to account for the fact it's going to take forever to load. The lifetime performance of your YouTube channel can be a fun thing to look at, but it actually doesn't tell you that much, especially since everything has an asterisk, because YouTube wasn't tracking data at certain points, and there have been points where YouTube has outrightly just lost data, and that's actually pretty bad on their part, but it can help you put your channel into perspective if you'd like, or if it's just fun for you to think about, how much watch time you've accumulated over the lifetime of your channel. In my case, about 144 years worth of watch time, then, that could be something just fun to do and to look at. But lifetime data usually isn't that helpful. For the sake of argument, I prefer to look at the data of the last 30 days, the last 90-day cycle, and also the current month. Or possibly the previous month if you want to track its performance. Now, let's go ahead and let's look at which videos accumulate the most watch time, the metric that YouTube uses to determine channel authority. Channels that accumulate more watch time are considered more valuable to YouTube because they keep people on the YouTube platform longer, which is the desire of every social network, every website, every platform. With that in mind, there are videos that you could make that specifically drive watch time. You could also make videos that will drive views. You could make specific videos to drive engagement, or you can make videos to drive revenue, or you could make videos that specifically are meant to have some other type of call to action for you. Watch time and views are important. Subscribers are, of course, important because that's your loyal core audience. But also revenue is important as well. And then you have to consider what is also getting the best overall retention rates on your channel. And these videos might not be able to serve all of those goals. You may need to prioritize a content schedule that lets you make some videos that will rack up watch time and some that will rack up views. Primary example here is that clearly there are videos here that get less views, but despite getting less views, can accumulate equal or greater watch time than a video with more views. Part of that could be based on the length of the videos themselves. It could also be the topic of the video. It could also be the nature of the video. A primary example would be my rant video on there's no reason you can't start something in 2018. This was a very passion-driven video that was about motivation. That video, despite its length, did very well in terms of average view duration. It's an hour-long video that averages out to getting 20 minutes of people to watch, which means it's a great video for getting watch time and authority. That video's been out for a while, but in the last 30 days, it's gotten quite a bit of watch time. It's gotten the equivalent of 44 days and 11 hours worth of watch time, which is amazing. And even with just 3,278 views. Compared that to a video that has 3 times as much watch time, but more than 10 times as many views. That discrepancy is very important. Look at another video that only has about 7,000 views compared to 38,000. that is very close to that in terms of how much watch time accumulated, and even beat a video that has 20,000 views and has less watch time. So you have to understand that views aren't everything, and YouTube is putting watch time in the first column, which tells you that YouTube values this more. And that's something that is very important when you're deciding on a content strategy. If we go back to the overview, you can see for yourself that YouTube thinks about a lot of different factors: watch time, average view duration, views, estimated revenue, and then all of these factors for engagement. And you should be thinking about that too. When you're deciding on what content to make, you have to prioritize: is this video going to be longer so it has a better chance of accumulating watch time, and will that result in less views? Is this video going to be shorter, get less watch time, get more views, but also get more engagement? Is this video going to be able to get a higher average view duration because of its length? And is this video going to drive revenue for me, whether it's in AdSense or whether it's through affiliate marketing or selling your merchandise or your own products and services? A video has to have a main priority, because it is very difficult for an individual video to do very well with all of these things. But it's not impossible. And I'm going to show you a feature that many of you have probably almost never used in YouTube right now. This is a content overview of a single video, and you could actually search for videos by type if you wanted to. I'm going to click on what is my most popular video: 10 ways to make passive income online. This gives me an overview of the analytics on only this video and only its performance for the last 30 days. Meaning, if I wanted to judge this video's performance for the last 30 days, I have all the data that I need. So I can see that it's up on average view duration. I can see that it's down on its watch time compared to the previous month, which is as I would expect, since the beginning of January, it probably had a really good boost. There were probably more people that were trying to figure out how to make money online in January than in February, because it's a new year. That's just common sense, and I can apply that to this video and not take these numbers for granted. And it's down in every other metric. Okay. But if I wanted to evaluate this video and how it's performed for the last 90 days, I can see how it's performing, and I can see how it compares to the previous 90 days. And it's only down by about 13%. But the overall performance of the video, and if I look at these spikes, is still good and is still relatively healthy. And again, this is something you guys probably have not done to analyze the performance of an individual video. What I can also do is I can see where the traffic locations are coming from on this video and how people are viewing it and what the demographics are regarding the audience that is viewing this particular video. So these are all things that I want you to take into consideration. In fact, let's look specifically at the traffic performance on this video, because you'll notice something interesting here. I'm not sure if you can read this, but it says that suggested videos were responsible for 62% of the traffic on this video. 13% of that was YouTube search, and 16% of that was browse features. When you consider the amount of views that this got in the last 30 days, that's a significant portion. So let's figure this out, because this would tell us how I can grow more views on this video or a similar video. Now, this graph is something that some of you may have seen before, and this tells you in these individual spikes where traffic came from on certain dates for your YouTube video. And so we can see where I'm getting this watch time from specifically. But we can also tab over here, and we could focus on views if we wanted to. Many of you have probably never clicked over on these tabs to change how you're viewing the data against a video. So we can see that the majority on any given day of traffic from this video gets as many as 1,000 views recommended from other suggested videos on YouTube. And that when it talks about YouTube browse features, one of those is definitely going to be it distributing videos to the home page. So you can think of that red indicator there where it says YouTube browse features as YouTube distributing videos to your sub box and to the YouTube homepage and things of that nature. And you can see that it accounts for a very small fraction of the overall traffic to this video. If we want to put this into perspective, instead of using the stacked area chart, we can use a bar chart and we can get a really good idea, and this makes it much easier to compare where the traffic is coming from. And so you can see suggested videos is a big deal for views when we compare it to every other way that I get traffic on this video. Those other ones add up and they do help, but this really puts it into perspective. If you wanted to break it down to percentages, you could use this pie chart and know that 63% is coming from suggested videos, which is a lot. And then if you look at that pie chart and you look at how much of that is suggested videos compared to every other way that we have to get traffic for this video, that is a big deal. This also is a really good way for me to prove to trolls that I don't buy views and I don't bot. So that's just a funny story there. So we can see where this traffic is really coming from, and then we can make intelligent decisions from there. So if we know that a lot of this is coming from suggested videos, let's find out what suggested videos are driving traffic to this particular YouTube video. Now, this is really interesting when we go to suggested videos. Some of these videos are from other YouTube creators that I know, and these are great videos. But there are going to be some of these videos in terms of these views that come from my own content. Now, comparatively, the far majority of it is coming from these outside channels. But as you can see, there are some videos of my own, like this passive income, does affiliate marketing really work, that generated some traffic for me. 5 businesses you can start at home, that generated some traffic for me. But a lot of it is videos that were made after mine that recommended my own video. Some of them were also videos, because you see this video, for example, this was made in 2017. My video was published back in May of 2016. So if you make a video and it's what we call evergreen content, there's a great thing that can happen for you. There is content that people could make that ends up promoting your video if it becomes popular and it's in the same niche or has a similar title. So for those of you who've always been worried that someone will copy you, in some cases it could actually be the best thing to happen for your video, and it can cause an explosion in traffic for you. And so it's good to know where that traffic is coming from, and this helps put it all into perspective. So again, I really like using things like this bar graph to get a sense of what's driving traffic to a video in terms of views, but also to see things like, where the overall watch time is coming from and where the traffic sources are. Because a lot of people feel that the traffic that they need the most is going to come from these YouTube browse features. And that would be things like the YouTube homepage and subscriptions. But if we put this into perspective, even for the little bit of views that came from YouTube distributing this besides the features for suggested videos, if we go to browse features like the YouTube homepage, which is where most of this traffic came from, well, that's still only 20,000 of the overall, out of the 20,000 views there, well, that represents 18,000 of them. And then the rest is not that much. In fact, this video, only got to about 18 of my subscribers in that last 90-day period, which is fine because, again, it's not a new video. But if I look at the lifetime of this video and we put that into perspective, and I go back to the original traffic sources and we look at the lifetime of this video, you'll see something really interesting. For the entire lifespan of this video, the majority of its traffic has come from suggested videos. However, it did get a bump in distribution to the homepage, but only because of that referral traffic. When the video first went out in May of 2016, you can see here in the graph below that the views were very stagnant. But over time, those views spiked. And so you can't decide that a video is a failure because if I only went off of what happened in May and June and July and August and September versus the tremendous spike this got in November of 2016 and thereafter, and then you can see that once that happened, I got continuous growth and traction on that video. The entire life cycle of a video matters. So don't count a video out. This video only got in its first 30 days, well, first 28 days, because that's what it wants to show us. If we look at the first 28 days of this video, the first month this video is out, it got 18,000 views the first month. But this video is a year and change old and has over 1.2 million views. So don't make assumptions about your video if it's a video that could last and stand the test of time, because it's a topic that could become important later instead of being important right now. So again, if you want to analyze your video and the traffic around your video, you can look at an individual video by going up here to this panel, and you can pick a video or you can search for a video. One other thing I'm going to show you about this, because many of you have always wondered how many subscribers a single video drives to your channel. Well, we're looking at the lifetime data of this video since it was published, and this video has brought 9,000 subscribers to my channel. That's not a small chunk of subscribers, and I can also see where they came from in terms of geography. I close caption all my videos, so it's not surprising that I actually attract an international community of viewers because I close caption almost every single one of my videos. And so that actually really does help me because YouTube is a global platform, and so I get traction with the international community. So evergreen content can be important, but so can closed captions. And again, a single video can generate a lot of subscribers for you. Another similar video that I can see what another video did in terms of subscribers for me, a similar video did about 2,000 subscribers for me. There was a video I did that went very well in its early days, the Microsoft Surface video, hands-on review. That video has 500,000 plus viewers, but it only got me 581 subscribers when I compare it to that 5 small businesses you can start at home video, which in terms of views did very well for me. But that video produced far more subscribers. So the same amount of views on a video doesn't always translate to the same amount of subscribers. I got 2,000 subscribers with the same amount of views versus 500 subscribers with the same amount of views. It really just depends on what the topic is, but also how much other content you have to back it up. And you can see these kind of things in your analytics. In fact, I'll show you guys something else you've probably never used before. Comparison. I can actually compare this video to the Microsoft Surface video, and I can actually see the lifetime data and how these two videos shake out. And this is something I'm sure almost none of you have ever used in your YouTube analytics before. Just comparing these two videos, I can see that they did very similarly in their lifetime, in watch time, and in views. But if I go to subscribers, these videos generated wildly different results in subscribers and how much they grew the channel, whereas they were similar in almost every other single way. And by analyzing these things and comparing different types of content that your audience consumes, instead of making assumptions around views, you can really see what is growing your channel and what is sticking with your audience and what the real demand is if your goal is to grow subscribers. If you wanted to prioritize watch time and views, you can do those comparisons. But many of you want to grow your audience and your subscribers, and looking at this kind of data and comparing types of videos could really help you better understand that. And again, this feature is called comparison, and it's right there in the top of your YouTube dashboard. And you can look at it not only for subscribers, but you can look at it for watch time and audience retention and revenue and other factors as well and just see how different types of videos do. So if I decided to look at that Microsoft Surface video again, and YouTube's going to pull the data, I could go here and I could see, well, how did this do in terms of engagement? Did one of these do better in comments than the other? And the small business video obviously did much more in terms of getting people to engage and to comment. So I know that there are more people in my community that probably comment around that, even though these videos got the same number of views. It's almost uncanny. What did people share more though? What was something that people were more willing to share? Well, a few more people did share the small business video versus the Microsoft Studio video. The other thing I have to account for though is that the small business video is a bit older by a year than Microsoft video. So you have to take that with a grain of salt too, is that it got more traction in a shorter period of time, but it still also did convert less in terms of subscribers. In terms of demographics, we can see, well, who in my audience actually enjoyed this video more? Which video resonated with my ideal audience? My ideal audience is people between the ages of, say, 18 and 44. Really 24 to 44 if I'm honest, but 18 as well because I do want to help students. And students also have to make a lot of decisions around their tech purchases, their career choices with my creative careers videos and that advice, graphic design, marketing, social media, video editing. Those are skills that people in college might want that help them in their job. But I also want to help entrepreneurs and people working in the industry. And so again, my ideal range is this group of people from 24 to 44, but also this 18 to 24 range too. And I can see that both of these videos performed well with those audiences. The small business video did better overall across the board with audiences, but both of them did very similarly. And I can see that here. And being able to compare a business video to a tech review video of a popular product really helps me just kind of put my audience into perspective. And I think that's something that more of you could take a harder look at. Now, with regard to how to read your audience, I want to help you stop making some assumptions about the demographics in your audience. If we go to the demographics panel here, and right now we're looking at lifetime, I can actually see some interesting things about my audience. We see that I mostly have a strong audience of 24 to 34-year-olds and 35 to 44-year-olds, as well as 18 to 24-year-olds. This is a great audience if you are in business or if you sell products or services or if you're doing affiliate marketing, because this audience has disposable income and will do online purchases and shopping. This is great, and this also makes you very advertiser friendly if you can get this particular demographic in terms of your audience. However, not everyone in this audience gives you equal watch time or equal view durations or engagement, and you can actually find out about that. And we can go to that with the More Metrics tab. So here, we can actually look at the average view duration by age range, and we can get a sense of, well, who in my audience gives me the most overall attention. And you can see that it's the older portion of my audience. We're looking at this for the lifetime of my channel, but let's look at something relevant. Let's look at the last 30 days. And that's actually pretty consistent. And so you can see for the last 30 days, the average view duration, the older my audience is, the better my overall average view duration with my audience. So that's something that's important to consider. In terms of views, where are the views coming from? Well, this isn't surprising. I get more watch time from an audience that views me less, ironically, but it's not surprising that I get more views from the younger end of this spectrum. So when comparing those things, it's actually really interesting because YouTube values watch time, but since YouTubers are judged on views, the more you cater to a younger audience, the higher your view count will be. But at least in the case of my audience, if I value average view duration and people paying attention to my content or watching more of it, the older audience becomes more valuable there. The younger audience becomes more valuable in terms of views. But if we go to watch time minutes, which is a combination of view duration and views, Well, overwhelmingly in the middle of the road, those 24 to 34-year-olds perform the best for me. And it's not that big of a gap between 18 to 24-year-olds and 35 to 44-year-olds. The difference is that 35 to 44-year-olds have much less disposable watch time than other groups. Obviously, 18 to 24-year-olds might have more time than 35 to 44-year-olds. One, because 18 to 24-year-olds spend more time on the internet, but they also could have less responsibilities. They might have less children. They might have less hours at work. They might be students. There's a lot of room there for us to go granular, but I don't need to. It's kind of really obvious here based on the data who has more time to spend on my content and who's more invested. And so I could make decisions about what type of content I use, what my content formats are, the length of my videos, or even the thumbnails that I make to decide whether or not that fits with an older or younger audience. And you can make those same decisions to organize your content smarter, market it smarter, or promote it, or try to reach an audience that you think has more watch time for you or more views if that's something you're concerned about. So I would keep that in mind. Now, here's something that's actually really interesting. We can also apply this same metric if we decide to view by gender. We can then figure out where overall the watch minutes come from. I have a larger male audience overall, so it's not surprising that I get more watch minutes from my male audience, but watch what happens when I prioritize average view duration. These numbers change dramatically. My female audience is much more engaged in terms of the average view duration of my videos, even though they deliver less in views and raw watch time, which is consistent with what my overall subscriber ratio is of men to women. But in terms of average view duration, my female audience is much more invested in my content than my male audience, which means that if I wanted to grow my average view duration or potentially scale my watch time, growing this female audience could be extremely important to me. And so that's an important decision that I could make. And that's why data eliminates assumptions. Now, if I needed to put this into perspective in another way, I could always go to a pie chart here. And if I look at watch time minutes, obviously more watch time minutes come from that female audience. That male audience. And the same with views. And there is a correlation between watch time and views. But again, when I go to a comparison metric based on those retention rates or those view rates, in terms of that duration, which adds up to watch time, there is an opportunity here. And it's important to recognize opportunities when they arise. Now, in terms of geography, I could also look at where I'm getting a lot of view duration. Now, here's something that's really interesting. There is a lot of it that can be from an international audience in terms of view duration. They're viewing longer periods of time. The reasoning for that, and for the United States coming in a little bit lower there, is my closed captions on my videos. The closed captions on my videos means that since those viewers are looking for information that may not be put out by a content creator that speaks their native language, but they can read English closed captions or they can run some translation software, this becomes extremely valuable to them. And in my niche of online education, that makes perfect sense. So being able to get watch time from that international community is very important for me. And the thing is, this is combining original and translated. You could always look at things like that. And so you can see that people are translating this to their native language. And so that's very interesting. So there's just a lot of data that you could get from here, and then that can help you make decisions as to whether investing in closed captioning is worth your while, or whether or not you need to do something like subtitles in another language. And this could be very important just depending on what type of channel you're running. Now, something a lot of you don't use enough of is YouTube's cards, in terms of the info cards that YouTube puts up on the screen for you guys to be able to use. And what I use them for a lot, if you've noticed, is polls. And I can get polling data and I can review that polling data as far as how my audience is engaging. And the thing is, I actually do really good with getting people to click on these teaser cards and take action. And this can be very important. You could either use this to be driving traffic to affiliate links or sponsor links, or you could be using this to get valuable polling data on your audience. I also find that it helps my audience to stick around longer for a video if I interact with them using these cards. And so you can see that these cards are triggered at different points in the video, and it shows me that some people are watching longer, and it can help drag out that watch time. So I would encourage you to take more advantage of YouTube cards and then analyze them. I can also see which card types are actually performing better and getting more engagement. And it seems like the most engagement I get is out of running polls on my YouTube channel, which I usually start in the beginning of some of those videos. And when I recommend other videos or playlists, this does very well. Taking people off YouTube seems to perform less, and when I promote other channels, that also seems to perform less. So I can see which type of YouTube cards get the most engagement overall by running this comparison. And if I wanted to put that into a pie chart to just really get some context, I obviously can, with polls getting over 50%. So again, this could actually teach you a lot about your audience, and as I said earlier, you can drill down into these polls and you can see what polls your audience chose to vote on. And so this is great. We can really get perspective here and see what your audience cares about the most. So I have all these polls that I ran. A lot of people went for, the how many revenue streams that you have, which is not surprising since that's probably on a passive income video. Do you do YouTube full time? What do you use for video editing? So I got a lot of people to vote on these topics. And again, I can look at that result and I can start to realize that more of my audience uses PC than Mac. Some of them do edit on mobile devices. This could help me decide to prioritize what content I'm going to make in the near future. So again, take advantage of these things. These are features and things that I don't think the far majority of you have seen or taken advantage of or used in YouTube. And I think that if you could learn to navigate more of the YouTube Analytics dashboard, if you understood more about where are your subscribers coming from, which is one of the last things we'll cover here before we go into Q&A and before we talk about the YouTube Analytics crash course, where I'm going to be covering even more of this. But there are so many great ways for you to figure out where your audience is coming from. I can go to this subscribers panel and I can actually see where I'm getting subscribers for in terms of my videos this month. Which videos are driving the most subscribers to my channel this month? I can put all of that into perspective. I can see clearly that the how to grow a YouTube channel 10 small YouTuber tips 10 small YouTuber problems and how to fix them, that's doing really well in terms of getting me subscribers this month, because this month is demonetization day. YouTube is changing the policy on small creators, so a lot of my small YouTuber content is really overperforming even beyond what it normally does because of all the changes that YouTube is making. And that means that I could make new updated content and I could take advantage of this and grow even more subscribers if I want to prioritize that. However, even though that's a big driver for me, my new Start Freelancing If You're Broke video is driving new subscribers, and in the last 30 days, it's driven 175 new subscribers as a single video. That's not bad at all. More people are getting into podcasting. If I do more freelancing videos and more podcasting videos, there's a lot of opportunities for that to grow my channel. So that's something I could look at. This Smart Passive Income video, the freelancing video and the passive income video are very similar and related. They could help each other. So there's a lot of opportunities here. You'll also notice that because of all the videos I have, the reason my subscribers grow every month by 6,000 to 12,000 new subscribers every month is because of the large inventory of content I have that constantly generates new subscribers. I get so many new subscribers from all of these videos that it adds up. It adds up. If I stopped making content, my YouTube channel would still grow more than some active YouTubers, which is why if I upload less, it doesn't usually hurt my channel that much. But you wouldn't know that if you weren't looking at data. I can also look at the geography of where my subscribers are coming from. The overwhelming majority come from the United States. That's pretty obvious. But remember, I close caption every one of my videos except maybe my live streams, which I'm working on. That means that because I close caption, there are people who will not get this information from someone who speaks their language that value my videos and they subscribe. There are also English speaking people all over the world, and YouTube is a global community. So I can get subscribers from a lot of these other countries. And so that is important. There also might be people who just relate more to me or feel a sense of connection to me as an individual in these other places in the world more than the creators that are local to them. So that could also be a factor. And you can look at this information and you can break those things down, and then that can help you decide whether or not it's worth doing closed captions or doing transcriptions for your videos and things like that. So I would just say that you could take so much advantage of this YouTube analytics data, and I think that it's being undervalued by the far majority of the creators, but I also think that most creators just don't know what to do with some of this information. And so that's why I created a tool and a resource to help you. In the form of this live training, you now know that there are things you can do in YouTube that you've never seen before, and I'm going to get even deeper into covering the far majority of what is in the YouTube Analytics dashboard in the YouTube Crash Course, which I would invite you guys to pre-order at a discount if you're watching this webinar right now. So let's go ahead and recap a little bit, and then we'll move to Q&A. To recap, we've gone over the YouTube Analytics dashboard. We've looked at opportunities to grow your YouTube channel that you can't find any other way but then by analyzing this data and comparing individual videos. But you can also compare entire groups of videos, something that we're not doing here in the webinar, but something that will be in the YouTube Crash Course if you want to buy the YouTube Analytics Crash Course, which is offered here in the webinar. If you're watching this, we have an offer to pre-order this course, which releases at the end of March, and you can pre-order it for 50% off. It is the lowest it will ever be, and you have that opportunity right now. This content has already been produced, and you know that I know this content cold because of the webinar that we just navigated. I'll also be doing another private training and Q&A session for people who pre-order with their email address for the YouTube Analytics Crash Course. And so that's something that I want offered to you in addition to other bonuses. Now, we're going to move into Q&A, and I'm going to answer your questions. There are so many things in YouTube Analytics that are amazing and are really powerful, but the main thing I want you to do is take this data and apply it to your YouTube channel. Something I've always told people is that you have to set a specific goal for an individual YouTube video. There are videos that obviously get more views, but don't translate to subscribers. And we saw that when we compared my Microsoft video to my small business video. Both of them had almost the exact same number of views, the exact same number of engagements and watch time. But one of them got 5 times as many subscribers for my channel as the other. And you need to be able to see things like that so you see opportunities to grow and you can prioritize what content you're going to make. If you're going to make 3 videos in a week, there might be videos you can make that are going to get you more views, but there might be videos you can make that are going to get more subscribers. You have to choose a priority, and you can do that if you have data to back it up. And that's the thing that I want to encourage more of you to do. Take advantage of the data in YouTube that can help you grow your channel. So with that in mind, I want to go to Q&A. I want to answer some of your questions. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So if you have questions in the live chat, I'd like to go ahead and try and answer as many of them now for those of you who are watching live, and maybe that's helpful to anybody who might be watching the replay. So go ahead and get those in. Ayla Art says, what if the best video is not quite related to your niche? This is a fantastic question. Your data can tell you that, and your data can tell you what your best video is. The video that got the most views may not be your best video because maybe it didn't grow subscribers, and maybe that's what you want right now if you're a smaller creator. So if it's a video that's outside of your niche, but it got you subscribers, the problem is that those might be dead subscribers. It might be something that on the surface looks good for your channel, but in the long run it could hurt you because those people won't have their expectations met by the rest of your content. A lot of people will jump into a trending topic, on YouTube specifically to get more subscribers, but those subscribers don't stick around. So I would say that it's important to stick to topics in your niche if you want to manage people's expectations and keep them coming back for more. I hope that makes sense and answers your question, Ayla. I'd love to have more questions for those of you here on the webinar. This entire next 10 to 15 minutes is dedicated exclusively to Q&A for you guys so that you can get your questions answered. Susan Koch asks, are you working in the new Beta Creator Studio yet, and is the data displayed there differently? I'm not working in the Beta Studio because they actually don't give you all of the data yet because it's still a work in progress. Once the new Beta Studio is rolled out, which could be months from now, it could be over a year from now. YouTube has been known to do long betas, and right now YouTube is having some issues in their system. I will update training and I will update courses accordingly when YouTube makes changes, but the core fundamentals of everything I told you will remain the same, even if we have to navigate to that information differently. And if we do, I will be sure to make those kind of updates for you. Sarah Makes Art asks, am I doing something wrong if my views and watch time rates are going up, but not that of my subscribers? Sarah, not necessarily. Your views and your watch time could go up because it means that you're catering to your existing audience. However, you may not be growing subscribers because you're not going beyond that existing audience. And so that could be something that you need to think about. There is content that could grow you a new audience, but you could end up not getting the views and not getting the watch time from your existing audience and end up alienating them. So that's just something that every creator has to navigate and be cautious of, the balance between serving your existing audience and growing a new one. That's why many creators have to upload multiple videos a week, is because there are videos that they do for their core subscribers, and then there are videos they do to expand their reach and to grow a new audience. Dragon Lord Lita says, I noticed that you didn't mention about edge screens. Would you analyze them similar to cards? I absolutely would, and it can help you decide whether or not you want to change the template for your end cards. And this is something that will obviously be discussed in the YouTube Analytics Crash Course if you choose to buy that program, and we will definitely get into that there. For the sake of brevity, I decided to focus on info cards because you could kind of conflate them, even though there's a little bit of difference and some specificity to how you can use end cards to grow your channel, and that actually is for the far minority of people that watch closer to the end of a video, and there are ways to increase that, but that's something that would be discussed in the crash course. All right, and so we have another question here. Ayla Art says, so do you change niches? This video is growing every month. I would say that if you're chasing growth or you're chasing a new audience, maybe you change niches. People have done that before. I don't know that serves your overall goal or mission or business model to do that, but if you wanted to chase views and subscribers and you have data that says a certain video or type of video is in demand, you could pivot and switch niches, but you're going to lose your core audience that was following you for what you delivered in the past. So you could trade out an old audience for a new one, but that could also have its own problems or challenges. Super Supine Smoky asks, can you use info cards to promote merchandise? You absolutely can use info cards to promote merchandise. However, I would caution you that the more you take people off of YouTube, the more that hurts you in the algorithm, but you shouldn't let that shy you away. I just need to warn you about it because people will say something if I don't. Keeping people on YouTube is in the best interest of growing your channel, but taking people off YouTube to places where you convert and where you get a larger amount of money is in the best interest of your wallet, which is why some videos should have the goal of keeping people on YouTube longer, and other videos should have the goal of taking traffic off YouTube to convert to you in terms of monetary gain, making that money. So you have to make a priority with every video. You have to decide, is this video going to help my YouTube channel or is this video going to help my wallet? It's very hard for it to do both, and it's very hard to ask your audience to do both things. So I would say focus is important. Jay asks, I have a video that's almost at 1 million views, but no longer make videos in that niche. I may circle back in a few months when I start making music again. So I think Jay is just commenting to what other people are asking about is sometimes you have a video that doesn't fit your channel anymore, but it's a big performer for your channel, and so you leave it up. Also, you don't want to tank your stats by unlisting or deleting a video that's driving that much traffic, and it could help people be aware of you, and maybe they like the other content you already have. You just have to make a decision about what you want to represent you and whether you can take hits in the algorithm or not and how comfortable you are. That's all just something that every creator has to think about. Every creator goes through that. Midnight Madness 4x4 says, I know my subscriber growth has slowed down since I made my last even coverage video back in October because that's what brings in the most. So I think I have to find something for off-season time. Yes, if you have seasonal content, such as, say, a sports channel or a TV show review or something of that nature, you have to find something that can hold your audience over in the meantime when there's not a lot going on. News channels also have to do this. So I would recommend that you find a way to maintain traction with your audience. If you see that there's a time period where you usually have a dip, and that's where looking at the last 90 days or looking at the past year or the lifetime of your channel can help. IT Career Questions ask, I released 12 videos at once the other day, and it was an interview series. I broke the videos up into separate questions. This made people upset, and I went negative in subscribers for the day. Yes, that could happen, and also from an algorithmic standpoint, uploading a bunch of videos in the same day back to back like that isn't a good idea. You really should spread that out. Give people breathing room. They can't prioritize all of your videos, especially if they're an older audience. You have to give them that breathing room. They can't keep up sometimes. So I find that sometimes giving people that breathing room could mean that individual videos perform better, and that's healthier for the channel. And so there's a temptation to just get everything out at once. I would rather you had set those and released them one day at a time. And that would have also given you more time to promote those individual videos in social media. So I think that that's better for your channel. It's a better look. It's more comfortable for viewers. And so that's the way I would have done it. All right, we have 5 more minutes available for your questions, and then we're going to wind things down. All right, and it looks like we're a little thin on questions. I know that you guys got a lot of great content and a lot of great information out of this, but I do feel like it's important that if you have questions, you take the opportunity to ask them now if you can. And, I would say that there's a lot that's covered here, but as you saw, we didn't go through every single facet of the YouTube Analytics dashboard. And that's why I think it's important to release this YouTube Analytics crash course so that I can go even more in depth with you, and so that I can reveal even more things in the YouTube dashboard that you've never seen before, and that I can also give you some context and explain some of these individual panels and how to use them properly and how to put that information and that data into context. So I think that's important. Auto Network has a question. My watch time is about the same, revenue slowly increasing, but I want to increase my monthly subscribers. How do I best do that? The channel is automotive. You'd have to go to that subscriber tab that I showed you. You'd have to identify which videos are performing in terms of driving the most subscribers for your channel. Then based on that information of, say, the top 5 videos, maybe for the year or for the month or the last 90 days that have driven subscribers, you have to figure out whether you can make more videos like that to grow the audience. And it would really help if you can make evergreen videos, videos that are always relevant, that can still drive those subscriptions, because then you have a constant funnel of new subscribers that are discovering you. So I would say that that is important for you to do. And I think that it could really help you grow your channel and subscribers, and it's what I regularly do. Jay asks, why did you choose this webinar format over the YouTube live stream? As on YouTube, you would have likely had many more eyes to promo the course to. Because I was only interested in people who could be truly committed And I also wanted people that specifically want to learn YouTube analytics and to grow their channel. I didn't want people who were going to ask for YouTube channel reviews. I didn't want people who were going to ask for subscribers or promotion to their channel. I want people to make a commitment with an email address so that we could focus on this training, keep it concise to about an hour plus some Q&A. And I also want people who are serious and might actually choose to buy this course. There will come a point where I promote this to my main YouTube audience at some point, maybe in a different format, but I want to do some of these webinar trainings because I want people who are committed. And also, I want to give you who are committed enough to commit specific time to this and an email address. And so that we have that trust, I wanted you guys to have the first shot at getting the YouTube Analytics Crash Course at a discount so that then I could make a plan to do another private training event with those of you who are serious and not have the questions and flooded with people promoting themselves or people who want to ask for a YouTube channel review, and I could focus on just your hardcore questions about YouTube analytics that are relevant to this training, and so I could better serve you. And then those of you who pre-order the course, I can serve that small group of people even better in another private training session to hold them over until the course releases. So I've just felt that this was a focused approach. So I hope that answers the question. Will that crash course offer, what will the crash course offer, like number of lessons, core value? Jacob Flax. Jacob, I will be putting out some more information for you if you're interested, but I'll tell you right now what the YouTube Analytics Crash Course is going to cover. The YouTube Analytics Crash Course is going to have some exclusive download materials and worksheets that will help you kind of sort through your YouTube channel more effectively and set your priorities based on what these analytics are telling you. One of the things that I do for my YouTube Analytics is I actually write some of this information down by hand and I action on it and I analyze that data. You saw in today's live webinar that there are hidden features in YouTube Analytics that most YouTubers have never used, and I hadn't even revealed half of them yet. So in the YouTube Analytics Crash Course, you will see even more hidden features and panels in YouTube. That is a big plus factor for you. The core value will be learning how to use and navigate YouTube Analytics properly and how to put your channel into context and analyze that data correctly. You saw that we went through how you can make bad assumptions if you don't know how to read that data and how to take it with a grain of salt. And also, it's very difficult for creators to see that data and then come up with an actionable piece of material to say, well, what do I do with this information? So we will have some straightforward, actionable advice based on things you're seeing in your channel. If you're seeing a drop in this, then maybe you should do this thing. If you're seeing growth here, then maybe you should do this thing, or how you should set priorities. So that will be actionable advice, and we will also analyze how to use YouTube Analytics in order to find growth opportunities. I showed you how we can find opportunities to grow our subscribers. I can also show you opportunities to get more watch time and to also get more views based on how content is performing and how we can use things like suggested videos and seeing what suggested videos are recommending our videos on our channel so that we can increase growth in that way, because you saw that it accounts sometimes for 60%, 70% of my traffic on a given video. So those are all things that we'll be covering in the YouTube Analytics Crash Course. Randall Paint says, to piggyback on IT careers questions, I plan to release a how-to painting series a la Bob Ross. Should I release it all at once? No, you should absolutely not release an entire series of videos at once. I've seen channels do that and completely destroy their overall performance by doing that. It is a horrible idea. Please do not. It sounds like a great idea up front, but think like a viewer. That wouldn't play out well for you as a viewer. You would not be interested in that. Please don't do it. Jay Leaves asks, if I'm below the monetization threshold, can I link out to merch and fan funding using cards? No, this was done before. Yes, even with demonetization day, small creators can do that. If you're having an issue with it, YouTube is unraveling that from the system. So you will be able to do this, if not right now, in the very near future. They are looking out for small creators on that. Yes, you will be able to use cards and link out to external channels. Jay Leaves asks, what analytics do brands care about the most from my experience when it comes to trying to get sponsorships and brand deals? If you can tell brands that you're getting 20% growth every single month on subscribers, or a certain amount of subscriber growth every month, or a certain number of cumulative view growth, they care about that. If you can prove to them that your average views may be down, but the views for the type of content you would do for them are higher or more engaged, that's good analytics to show them. Give them specific examples of videos and those videos' performance over time. I would also say that if you have outside analytics from YouTube of, say, affiliate revenue that you've done somewhere else, and you can show them that proof, that data matters to sponsors for brand deals. Malice in Candyland says, can we buy the course with PayPal? You can absolutely buy the course with PayPal. There's also a payment option available for any major credit cards or debit cards through Stripe. So all payment options are pretty much available to you in terms of online payment. We just don't take Bitcoin. Jay asks, can I request for you to write a foreword for my new book? I would just have to see the book first before I do that. And it looks like we have another question here. One thing I saw from my audience retention was that I was putting sponsor commercials before my helmet camera footage and it caused people to leave. Should I consider re-editing or just learn from it? Midnight Madness, I would say that you should learn from it. And I would say that going forward, you could just do that differently. Yoltz Gold asks, can I ask something not pertaining to analytics? If it's still relevant to this conversation, you can. If it's not, I can't guarantee that I'll answer it. Yep, no problem, Midnight Madness. Glad you got the answer you were looking for. All right, we're going to take one or two more questions, and then we're going to completely wrap up. And first of all, I just want to thank all of you for spending the time and committing to this webinar training. The replay will be edited and available for about roughly 2 more days, and then we'll try and get the recorded replay out to the rest of you via email as a download, so you'll be able to grab that. And of course, we ask that you not share it outside of the people that committed to the webinar, because we wanted this to be private, exclusive training for people who are serious. If we do anything else like this, it will be not as robust for the general community, just because we want to create that exclusive value for you guys. And again, we'll cover more in depth in the actual YouTube Analytics crash course that comes out in March. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys think of the material that we cover there. We will do another private training event in the form of a webinar for people who missed this one. We'll also probably do a recurring replay webinar later that will be pre-recorded for people who didn't sign up for this one. We may not cover everything we covered today, and that will be for new people, and that will also drive more people to be aware of the course once it's released. So we'll have that recurring webinar, but you guys will get the replay of this one via email as a download, as another bonus for all of you. And then there will be more perks that come for those who pre-order the YouTube Analytics crash course. I cannot stress enough that anybody who pre-orders will probably get more out of it than people who order, but also pre-order gets you 50% off. Once it goes to regular price, it's very unlikely that I'll ever come back down to this low a price. Once I run a 50% off sale, that's all it is. And once that sale's over, it's over. I never come back down to 50%. So take advantage of that for as long as the availability lasts. And I would invite you to ask any additional questions. You know that I'm always available via Twitter and other social media platforms. So I'm definitely here to answer any of your questions. If you want to know more about the course, I'm going to be updating the sales page of the course just to give you a better breakdown and overview of what it offers. But you should be getting an email at the end of this webinar that gives you an update and helps you put the course into context and what you're going to get, as well as makes you aware of some of the bonuses. So I'm definitely looking forward to you guys signing up for that and engaging there. And also, one of the other interesting things is that the YouTube Analytics Crash Course is probably the only course out of all the YouTube courses that you could get that's going to be focused on just this one thing: YouTube Analytics and how to use it properly and how to use it to grow your channel. There are a lot of YouTube courses out there that will talk about audience growth and they will talk about everything under the sun, but we're going to be doing focused courses. I'm going to be releasing the YouTube Analytics Crash Course closer to the summer as we move to VidCon. I'm going to be doing a YouTube Live Masterclass for those of you who want to do live streaming on YouTube and want to do it at an advanced level. And I will be teaching you everything that I've learned about YouTube Live. There are going to be some more YouTube Live experiments that I'm going to do with new camera gear and switchers and things of that nature, and I'll be including that information. So you'll have specific information and training for me when I release courses. Instead of a broad general overview, I will go very narrow for you and go in depth. This will be a hardcore deep dive, and that's kind of the value that some of you say that you've been looking for, and I want to deliver on that because that's what I can do differently for you than everybody else. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for spending the time tonight to be part of the webinar training. I want to thank everybody who's pre-ordered the YouTube Analytics Crash Course, and I want to make sure that you guys are getting your bonuses. There will be emails going out updating you of when the replay is available for you for download. Thank you for all the great questions. You guys have been tremendous, and thank you for supporting the new format and for supporting everything I do here with Awesome Creator Academy. If you are not already checking out awesomecreatoracademy.com, there also is some great free blog articles and information over there. There's a resource list so you know what I'm doing with my online business and you can do it too. There are some discount codes over there as well. So please take advantage of all of the resources that are at awesomecreatoracademy.com. And again, thank you for joining this webinar for the YouTube Analytics Crash Course. Your 50% discount link is in the description down below, as well as here in the webinar room training. Again, you guys, this is Roberto Blake. Thank you for joining tonight, and go out there and create something awesome today. Take care.